Hey, I need to tell you about this awesome new mini course. It's about the mindset we've learned is necessary for success, a deep dive into the psychology of why diets fail. And stay to the end to enter our contest. In our Eat Like a Bear group, where I reversed my diabetes, one of the things we noticed early on was how many of us went through epiphanies that largely changed our way of thinking about food and its place in our lives. Of course, the support of a group is invaluable in any journey, and there are people there who have become very important to me. But some of the changes in my life had to do with them sharing their realizations and reacting to mine. We learned and grew together. Though my focus is not weight loss, my goals are primarily about helping folks reverse diabetes. Given that both obesity and type 2 diabetes have their roots in hyperinsulinemia, the path to freedom is the same. Reversing diabetes is absolutely linked to weight loss. I've never seen a case where they didn't happen simultaneously. While I was primarily interested in recovering from my numerous diabetes-induced health issues, I did wind up smaller than I've been since high school and am still losing weight today. So, given I already knew and admired Amanda, when I began my journey, I joined her group. Amanda, being a highly skilled social scientist with extensive training in data analysis, examined the group. She interviewed those who had lost 100 pounds or more. We call them century bears. And she began to identify our primary success factors, the core bits of psychology that were most important to successfully losing weight. I strongly suspect that we were very lucky that someone with her training leads the group. Our core demographic is older women, many of whom have been overweight for decades and trying every diet out there. Most weight loss programs don't even bother marketing to us because we're such hopeless cases. Last time I checked her site, there were 150 of these hopeless cases who had become century bears. And I believe that while Amanda has figured out our primary success factors for our personal journeys, from fat, weak, and sick to trim, strong, and healthy, she herself is the primary success factor for this group. Seriously, if we can do it, you can do it. I feel it's almost as if her entire life up until now was preparation for leading this group. She had the training and education, then spent years of obese herself, lost the weight, so understands from the inside as well as with her education and training how to make this as effective as possible. It's similar to how I feel about myself, that my history of becoming a biochemist, experience teaching to all age groups, and then being diabetic for years before reversing my own diabetes specifically qualifies me to teach about it. From my viewpoint, I can analyze what she teaches and makes judgment about how nutrient dense it is, because that's how my brain thinks. And personally, I can see how little time in the kitchen it requires and how frugal it is to do. And yes, what and when you eat is important. That's why it's called Eat Like a Bear, implying the necessity of fasting through periods, as a bear does when hibernating. But in my opinion, while the food plan is necessary, it's really not sufficient for success. We also need to think like a bear. And while many of us muddled through learning and figuring this out for ourselves when the group was new, she has summarized all our experience for those coming after us in a mini course called Your Last Day One. The basic premise is we've all had numerous first days of diets, Those days we thought we'd start changing our lives, but they didn't stick. This course is about how to make this time your last day one, going from day one all the way to the finish line. She makes 3 important points. First, you're not different from all the success cases. It was hard for each of us to start. If this journey were easy, we'd not have an obesity epidemic in this country. The problem of how to start is universal. And secondly, there's no better way to start than to just dive right in. The gradual approach hasn't been nearly as successful as the wholehearted approach. As you start, your behavior builds momentum to keep going. Thank you, Newton's first law of motion. Also important is that your self-image changes profoundly as you build evidence that you are becoming the person that you've chosen to be. Finally, it's important to grind all the way to the finish line, especially if you have a lot of weight to lose. If you're 100 pounds overweight, losing 20 pounds isn't going to change your life all that much. But the difference between you are now and where you'll be at your end goal is going to give you a life that you couldn't have dreamt of. And that difference is so huge that it will sustain you to the end of the grind and through maintenance. This mini course also includes all of her psychology-oriented videos, both the YouTube ones conveniently gathered in one spot and the ones only previously available in her digital bundle at a much higher cost. And that brings me to the only problem I see with this mini course. Having considered many online courses myself and taken a few myself, her work is massively underpriced. I've been arguing with her about this for years to no avail. Amanda is bound and determined to make her work as accessible to as many as possible and has frankly been working without any pay for years to make this happen. While I couldn't oversell this course if it costs 10 times as much, it is literally under $5. Part of my concern with it being priced so low is that few will realize how valuable this actually is. If you know what to do, but find yourself sitting on the fence, afraid to start, certain you'll fail like all your previous attempts, you need to learn how to make this your last day one. If you don't know what to do, I recommend the 3-day challenge, which is absolutely free. The link is in the description box below. Now, ELAB is not the only method for reversing diabetes. It's just the one I happen to choose because I already knew and admired Amanda. Her approach aligned with the high value I place on real whole food, conveniently made meal prep easy and fast, and incorporates a very frugal approach. Most of the testimonies in my playlist are from members of ELAB, but we've also seen people have success with very different implementations, the basic principles of which I elucidate in my Reversing Diabetes playlist, which is linked here. I'll see you over there where you can learn how to kick diabetes to the curb. But first, the contest. Hey, we've got a contest here. Here's a question for you. What's the reason for incorporating apple cider vinegar in our diet? Put your answer in a comment below, and I'll randomly choose from the correct answers and follow up with you to win the journal of your choice.